This week's tip is about cables. And there are two things that can go wrong with cables. The first I've marked here with which is to the left of the cable, and that is a ladder. And notice that this appears only on the left. On the right side, there is no ladder. The cause of this is the same thing that causes ribbing to look sloppy and seed stitch to have holes in it. If you don't pull the yarn forward very tightly, you can get these ladders when transitioning from a knit to a purl. The other thing I've marked here is this big old loopy stitch that is the first stitch of the cable. And that just makes your cables look a little sloppy, and we can fix that as well. Now, I've knit part of this swatch, and I've only got a few stitches on it. And so let's see if we can fix it up. Whoops, that's a yarn tail. I'm going to go over, got my reverse stockinette stitch, and I'm at my first cable. That's not a problem on the right side of cables because people generally tend to pull the yarn tightly from the purl to the knit. The problem comes on the other side of the cable. And if you bring the yarn forward tightly so that there's not this big loopy business, you're going to eliminate, and you can just give it an extra little tug as well, you're going to eliminate those ladders. And it's important to do this on the reverse side as well if you're knitting flat, because at that same location you're going to be transitioning from a knit to a purl. So that's why you can get these things on both sides, on just one side of the cable. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to again pull my yarn forward tightly, and that is going to eliminate that cable, or the ladder to the left. Now the other thing that can make your cables look sloppy is the first row of cables, and how that happens is when you slide those stitches to the cable needle, you can stretch them out. Anytime you are slipping a stitch for any reason, doesn't matter, increase, decrease, mosaic stitch, doesn't matter. Anytime you are slipping stitches, if you stretch them out, they're going to be large and ugly. Now I'm going to lightly slide these guys to my cable needle, and I'm going to try and manipulate them as little as possible. So instead of putting them back on my needle or doing whatever, I'm just going to use my bare needle tips. Just barely work those stitches. And we can see that that has stretched them out far less. Now, they're always going to be stretched out to some extent because they are extending over other stitches, but they don't have to look gigantic and enormous. And you can see that those are fairly small. And in the final photo, you can see what this looks like.